eCube Solutions. Energizing lives renewably.
Assalamu alaikum ladies and gentlemen, कैसे हैं आप? ठीक ठाक हैं? We are back with episode 8 of On the Grid with eCube Solutions. My name is Waleed Rana and I'm country head eCube Solutions Private Limited, and we are back with yet an exciting episode. Today we have a guest that has an innumerable amount of accolades throughout her career, and she has been doing a lot of research, and she has specifically been working on renewable energy and creating a renewable energy mix in the entire energy mix of the country. This guest is the Karachi chapter chair for Women in Energy Pakistan and founding member of Women in Renewable Energy Pakistan. She holds an MBA degree from the Lahore University of Management Sciences and brings with her vibrant experience of working within array of organizations across industries. She's worked with FMCGs, pharma, healthcare, education, media, and currently she is working alongside NGOs and NPOs. She serves as a visiting faculty as Zabist for the BA and BS program and is involved as a business mentor and coach for various startups. She also leads the Climate Launchpad Pakistan program, which we've been discussing about before this episode behind the scenes, and we'll talk more on the grid. She has diverse training and consulting experiences, have been engaged on conducting assessments, strategy planning and design implementation, and she has been a part of the execution of projects with clients from corporate and development sector organizations such as the World Bank, BSW Solar, which is a German solar association, and Alliance for Rural Electrification in Belgium, USA, with Dutch Bank, and she has expertise with Nestle, EBM, Sapphire, GIZ, and numerous programs. Apart from that, she has been a part of, in some capacity or the other, been a part of UNDP, UNICEF, PPAF, and Hashu Foundation, to name a few. And this is just a short introduction of the celebrated guest that we have here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Hira Wajahat, and she's here. Assalamu alaikum, Hira. Kaisi hain aap?
Walaikum Assalam. Thank you so much, Waleed, for having me here. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing very, very well and very excited to speak to you today. After following some of your podcasts, so मुझे भी काफी वो हो रहा था कि it's a really cool thing to be a part of. So I'm glad you guys invited me.
Great, great. So it's good to hear that you've been following us on our podcast series. This is 8th episode on the line, and we started off with the vision to bring on the contributors and major stakeholders of the country and people who are positively contributing to the positive impact of Pakistan throughout the globe. And you've been, after a lot of research, we found you. And I think we are humbled enough that you've set aside a time out of your busy schedule to be a part of the show. So Hira, before we start, I'd like to give my audience a little introduction of what we do as a company. eCube Solar Solutions Private Limited is a solar EPC provider company that develops concepts and projects in domestic, commercial, industrial sectors. And not only that, we also work rigorously and aggressively in the agri sector, which is the agricultural, because 60% of Pakistan is agricultural, so we focus there as well. So apart from that, we do projects on PPA, and we are involved with IPPs as well, and we aspire to become the leading solar EPC of the world one day, inshallah. So today the topic, ladies and gentlemen, that we have with Hira focuses on strengthening women's role in renewable energy, and which is a key to achieving multiple SDGs. So Hira, briefly explain what are the sustainable development goals that one needs to follow?
So just a small introduction to the Sustainable Development Goals. UN की एक strategy है, because the UN is a global organization जिसका mandate है कि it needs to bring a positive impact in the world, especially वो countries जो poor countries हैं उनकी support के लिए. तो इन्होंने 2020 के end पर एक strategy अपनी follow की थी कि by 2030 we need to achieve some targets, जिसमें उनको poverty reduce करनी है, hunger eradicate करनी है, लोगों को clean water और clean and affordable energy solutions की access देनी है, climate action पे काम करना है. तो इस तरह से there are 17 goals with different targets that need to be met. ताकि जो poor countries हैं, for example African countries, Asian countries, पाकिस्तान, ईस्ट एशिया, बांग्लादेश वगैरह, इनका थोड़ा सा एक better ranking हो जाए world में. In these 17 goals, the goals that I very closely align with, करने तो सारे follow चाहिए, but my favorite are goal number 7, which is clean energy and access to affordable energy for the poorest communities, and goal number 13, which is climate action. So I do a lot of work with clean technologies.
Right. So, Hira, are we globally unleashing the power of women in sustainable development goals? What is the role of particularly women in this whole fiasco?
With women, the challenges हमारे बहुत सारे roles होते हैं, and I think in our country, अगर मैं सिर्फ पाकिस्तान की focus करूँ, women are key influencers, key homemakers. बाहर कुछ भी हो रहा हो, decision making एक घर में ख़वातीन की होती है in terms of what the kids will eat, what are the sort of appliances that will come in their homes, and because most of our population is a bottom of the pyramid or a low income population जो होता है, तो ख़वातीन का बहुत ज़्यादा रोल है. Especially अगर हम sustainable development indicators के हवाले से देखें, especially if it's things like access to clean energy. So जो आपकी absolutely poor communities हैं, वहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है to engage women, to make sure they are part of the process, because आपने influence करना है. ये जो goals है ना, इनका challenge ये है कि you can't say tomorrow I want to reduce poverty by 10% and it will happen. No, it won't happen. It needs to happen over time through behavior change, and that will only come by educating the masses. और आपको पता है कि education जो है वो दो जगह से आती है, एक school से, एक घर से. घर में सबसे बड़ा educator ख़वातीन हैं, or the mothers or the sisters or the grandmothers. So women do have a very key role to play globally, and in Pakistan especially so, because our population also is largely dependent on the women.
Right. So as you've just mentioned कि एक part जो education का है, उस चीज़ का है, opportunity का है, वो घर से भी आता है, the training that women do in their household. So we also believe as a nation as well, and we always have been emphasizing on the fact that education of one man is an education of one person, and education of one woman is an education of the entire family. So for that to happen, I think there should be a sort of some training program, some some opportunity that we should provide specifically to women, so that they can walk side by side with men in the country and contribute towards renewable goals. So what do you think has the government and NGOs combined have been doing to provide that opportunity, number one, and then once that opportunity is created, once the women are out of their homes, then to provide adequate training for them to be able to integrate themselves into the community as a whole?
I think it has started off. It's not entirely where we would like it to be, but in bits and pieces, काम हो रहा है और काम start हो गया. That is positive. So if we look at a global ranking as well, so even other countries recognize that for a country like Pakistan, जहाँ पे ये सोचा जाता है कि ख़वातीन बहुत पीछे हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ों में एक support उनको from their homes, from the government मिल रही है, which is quite shocking for a lot of people. So इसकी एक example अगर हम लें, so Punjab Energy Department, for example, has joined in with the Punjab Status on the Commission of Women, and they've put together the Women in Energy, जो कि उनका एक brainchild या initiative है. It came from the Planning and Development Department, and eventually हुआ ये कि वहाँ से start लेकर for Lahore and Punjab, volunteers signed up. So like I said कि जी हमें कराची में भी chapter चाहिए, so we signed up for it and we brought the chapter to Karachi. इसके अलावा different initiatives जो कि World Bank के through, IFC के through लिए गए हैं for rural solar electrification. Again, the hub of it is in the Punjab. Punjab government has been very, very active on this. That's the good part. Now the Sindh government is also taking up on this. So I think World Bank का भी एक last year में launch हुआ है Sindh Energy Department के साथ, बहुत massive project, इसमें एक rural household electrification की है. Key stakeholders to all these projects are women, so they are being trained on how to use and actually use the solar systems that are given to them, and then feedback also उनसे भी दिया जाता है, उसको संभालना किस तरह से, उसको कैसे ख्याल रखना, इस तरह की चीजें. Women in Energy as an initiative is also working on a different kind of a training, where we are working with young girls and fresh graduates from engineering universities would like to come into the solar as a mainstream. So along with
Right.
our solar partners companies, we have been conducting training for on renewable energy system sizing, installation, किस तरह से होगी for and designing वगैरह. So for graduates and about to graduate young engineers who are the female engineers would like to come into the solar or the energy side of things. एंड इफ अगर मैं जनरली इसको देखूँ तो जो मेरा एक प्रोग्राम चलता है क्लाइमेट लॉन्च पैड विच इज अगेन ऑल अबाउट फाइंडिंग द clean technologies, the clean energies, the solutions from Pakistan. For the second year in a row, the global team has recognized us that we have more than 50% participation from women, which means that हमारी जितनी training, coaching, mentoring हो रही है उसमें लड़कियां बहुत ज़्यादा एक role play करती हैं, which is an anomaly for them क्योंकि उनके लिए एक average 40% है. We've already exceeded that, and then 2 years in a row, so they've gone in a way crazy कि how is this happening in Pakistan? But the fact is कि pockets में काम start हो गया, इसको मजीद बेहतर करने की ज़रूरत है. So how we can grow it, how we can make it more mainstream, that is something that needs to be looked at.
Right. These all of these ambitious things are very interesting, and I kudos to you for accomplishing what you have accomplished so far, and best of luck for you to keep pursuing and successfully accomplishing what you have in mind for, because this is really very interesting. So we're talking about what nationally we're taking measures. Let's talk about the global arena. We've always seen back in the days when we were in our universities and when we used to give interviews for jobs and hooking us to the first job. We also normally observed one aspect, and because you're an engineer yourself and I'm an engineer myself, we've often observed that counterparts, colleagues, and classmates, especially women, have been hired by top companies, oil companies like Schlumberger, MOL, Weatherford, and they've been going to the rig and they've been aggressively pushing boundaries and doing the same that any man can do, being inside the oil lines and maintaining them and being on the rig and everything else. So as far as the oil industry is concerned, and considering it as one of the big industries in the world, women are there. Women are absolutely there. They're not just in the offices. They're on the field and they're going about their daily chores. They're going about the daily chores. So what do you think is the impact of the same the same labor force that we have, that the country has the potential of utilizing into renewable energy, and we've not been thus far successful into integrating that completely, not just as a country but as globally as well. We don't see many women innovating in renewable energy. We don't see many women going up there and for example installing the whole solar solution for a certain project. We don't see that much. Yes, we do see, we have an observation of seeing women in the offices. We have the observation of seeing women in the marketing side of the renewable energy, but not in the executional side of things. So what is your say on this?
देखिए, I think it depends entirely on the country and the context and किस culture में आप हैं, ठीक है? So this may be something acceptable in the West, and it is. Women are working on energy installation, other things as well, because वहाँ पे एक acceptability है. मैं आपको एक example देती हूँ from a rural village in India. वहाँ पर एक customer ने जो है वो एक छोटा सा solar system खरीदा, and one very ambitious company had decided that हम off grid के अंदर अपनी खवातीन को या local लड़की because you want to tick mark that got some funding from a foreign donor, so हम खवातीन को इन्वॉल्व करेंगे. तो उन्होंने एक फीमेल सेल्स फोर्स, इंस्टॉलेशन फोर्स एक अपनी तैयार कर दी. अब उस विलेज के अंदर जब वो लड़की चचा के घर की छत के ऊपर चढ़ी टू इंस्टॉल दैट, द ओल्ड ग्रैंडफादर हैड दिस, ही सेड कि अगर ये लड़की ऊपर चढ़ के लगाएगी तो मैं तो ये नहीं खरीदूंगा. ठीक है, अब आपका कस्टमर, उसका एक माइंडसेट है, ठीक है, and he insisted. He's a rural guy, right? He also has very limited exposure. उनकी वही farming, वही उनका जो भी चलता रहता है, and after I think a little bit they said ठीक है चले हम इनसे नहीं इंस्टॉल करवाएंगे, हम किसी लड़के से इंस्टॉल करवा देते. तो he was okay, वो राजी हो गए, वो इंस्टॉल हो गया सिस्टम. But if this is the mindset, how can you engage more women? So if this is the mindset, how can you engage more women? So I think that the brilliant idea we came up with was that लड़की से इंस्टॉल तो नहीं करवाएंगे, बट आपकी आने वाली जितनी फील्ड फोर्स है, तो उन लड़कियों को जो एज इंस्टॉलर्स तैयार किया था, कन्वर्टेड देम इनटू ट्रेनर्स. So anybody who would then be recruited into the company as an installer, they need to go through a training, and these women were training them. That was acceptable. Okay? So we need to do things in terms of our culture, in terms of our acceptability किस तरह की है. The other challenges, अगर मैं if I look at it from a more urban point of view, there is a mindset that even in companies, first of all, हमारी solar companies ज़्यादातर are उनको हम state companies ही कहेंगे ना, they're not like multinationals or large
Yeah.
big enterprises and things of that sort. So there is a general mentality कि हम एक level तक कर सकते हैं, but उससे beyond हम नहीं कर सकते, because typical एक वो होता है कि these are men's job, these are women's job in Pakistan, एक है थोड़ा सा scenario. But even for companies जो थोड़ी सी बड़ी हैं, जो कि hire कर लेती हैं, because they have some multinational associations or they are larger in that context. The issue always is that if a girl goes onto the field and she's a project manager, and by qualification and experience she has attained that, if she goes on the field, वहाँ पर एक challenge हमेशा ये होता है कि जो चीज़ वो अगर अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को समझाएंगी बताएंगी, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर उसको नहीं सुनेगा. वो अमूमन ये होता है कि जी आपको क्या पता. अच्छा, अब उसी प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर का जूनियर 2 लाइन्स डाउन कोई लड़का जाके वो चीज़ समझा देगा, तो अगला फौरन सुन लेगा. So these are cultural barriers, and unfortunately these are things that we need to work around with. And the positive thing is कि ये चीज़ें अब हमें समझ आ गई हैं कि इस तरह से होते हैं. So now we are in a better position to address them and take them forward कि हम और किस तरह से engage कर सकते हैं. So for example of a very good, K Electric is a good example, because there are a whole lot of women engineers who are now in the field working, and especially with their, because उनका भी एक mandate shift हुआ है, थोड़ा सा solar की तरफ आ गए, तो वहाँ पर उन्होंने काफी सारी लड़कियों को engage कर लिया. So the positive things are happening slowly, but surely they are happening.
Surely. And I think one step at a time. Maybe if one consumer did not want to have a woman climb up his rooftop and install the solar solution, maybe through this platform we can advocate for that, and we can tell our audience that women are equally capable of installing and innovating in solar designs. We have a lot of women in our companies who are working for the solar solutions, their designing capabilities, their installation capabilities, and maybe one of the installers who is installing at your house is, just as Hira puts it, maybe he's been trained by a woman. So that is okay for you to have a woman install a solar solution, because there should be an equality of opportunity. So how can a common woman, Hira, ensure her contribution to basically combat climate change? For example, if and by common woman I mean any any lady who's working at the house or out of the house, but not related to renewable energy technically, but wants to contribute towards a green and clean environment. And because considering the fact that this is a digital era, everything is on the internet, you can have some basic knowledge on how to do your own thing. There are DIY projects. So how can a common woman contribute towards a positive impact in the global climate scene?
I think अगर हम if we move out of the energy and look at climate overall broadly, there are multiple things that can be done. ठीक है, like you said, DIY और सारी चीजें हैं. The most basic thing is things like simply लाइटें स्विच ऑफ करना एक कमरे से दूसरे कमरे तक जाते हुए. ठीक है, एनर्जी कंजर्व कर रहे हैं. हमारे में एक आदत है जरा we are पुराने हमारे कल्चर है वो मुगलों वाला. So when we we are exiting a room, हम AC switch off नहीं करेंगे, हम light unnecessary switch off नहीं करेंगे, वो इस्त्री जलाकर जो वो इस्त्री जली रह जाती है, अभी हम आते हैं किचन से 2 काम करके. इस तरह की छोटी-छोटी चीजें होती हैं that need to be implemented, that women can easily do because वो अपने घर के अंदर उनका environment है. But what this does require is a proper education, and Then again, there are certain things that ठीक है education कौन देगा किस तरह से देगा. So multi partners need to be part of this, where the government is also initiating a drive, or education sort of a situation. बच्चों को engage करें. अच्छा, best तरीका to engage the women is कि बच्चे आकर कोई बात कहते हैं ना तो एक influence होती है mothers. Because वो बच्चा सीख के आता है कुछ स्कूल से, so that's one way of engaging them. So engage them, educate them, ताकि वो behavior का एक हिस्सा बन जाए. जैसे बीच में एक वो ड्राइव एक लोगों ने स्टार्ट की हुई थी कि सर्कुलर फैशन की. अब सर्कुलर फैशन क्या है कि आप 5 जोड़े खरीद लिए तो अब आप वो पूरे साल 5 जोड़े चलाएं, अगले साल आप 5 और खरीद लें. द फैक्ट इज दैट women already do this, but who counts? उनको पता ही नहीं सर्कुलर फैशन क्या होता है. हम वो फैंसी टर्म्स यूज कर लेते हैं कि यू प्लीज यूज follow circular fashion trends. So the thing is, we need to make it very easy and bite sized, ताकि समझ आ जाए. बहुत बेसिक सी होती हैं, उनको टर्म्स नहीं समझ आते. And then we can sort of gauge कि जब इतनी education हो गई है, who is really following it or not. वो भी बहुत आसान तरीके हैं. The digital age तो आपने क्या आपने आज जो है वो ऑलपर्स का दूध इस्तेमाल किया, yes या no, SMS कर दें इस नंबर के ऊपर, शौकत खान को 10 रुपए डोनेट कर दें. Why can we can also use the same kind of tactics to track behavior change. कि आज आपने what was the sort of electricity saving that you did, or one WhatsApp message कि आपने switch off करने से इस हफ्ते में 50 किलोवाट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिजली बचाए, which means in easy terms also translating कि आपके 3,000 रुपए बिल के कम हो गए. सबको लगता है. You need to talk in language that people understand. So the things are there, but everything that can be done needs to be communicated, and then we need to sort of measure on that कि क्या-क्या चीजें और हो सकती हैं.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, I totally agree with all that you've said right now. We need to, do something on those grounds. But then there is this, there's always this very sort of crucial and controversial debate that has been going on in every industrial sector of the world, which is whether we should focus more on equality of opportunity or equality of outcome. So I'd like to have your opinion on that as well.
My opinion is थोड़ा equality से हट के बात करती हूँ. I believe in something called equity. And so what equity basically means is that if you are not equipped, you need to be given the tools till you become equipped. ठीक है. So अगर आपकी कैपेसिटी नहीं है कि आप सीईओ बन जाए किसी कंपनी की, just to drive a 2% agenda, the woman must be a CEO. You cannot have an incompetent person sitting there. Right? These are things that everybody needs to understand. So अगर हम equality के terms में बात करेंगे तो शायद output वाली बात है. So yes, even on if you have a panel discussion, if you had today, for example, a more qualified man who could talk on the topic, then that should have been the correct approach. If I don't know about a certain topic, why would you just want me to be there for a tick mark, or that's actually putting me down even more. जी tick mark के चक्कर में आपको बोर्ड पे बिठा तो लिया है, but now आप capable है. हाँ, on the other hand, if she is capable, then don't deny her the right. So that is my belief, and I hope at some point वो across the board वो belief हो जाए, because I still feel that if there are more competent men, then yes, they should get the chance. There's no reason that I cannot compete with a better capacity or a better somebody who has more brains than me, or somebody who's more expert at something. But if I'm competent, then I should get the right. And I think you would agree that is a trend in some organizations as well, and I see it happening a lot in solar companies. जहाँ पे team leads या जो design या जो head कर रहे हैं departments को, they are all women, but the people who are working underneath or reporting to them, they are all men. So that's a positive thing. And I feel with many solar companies now, not only Karachi, I think Lahore में, Islamabad में भी इस तरह से काफी common हो गए.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I totally agree with you, and I think but I also want to emphasize here that we should, us as companies who are working in solar industry and renewable industry, and you as facilitators and mediators, because you provide a lot of startups with opportunities. So we should always, emphasize more on creating that that balance of opportunity for all genders, and not just men and women. I would like to advocate here for all genders, that we should, because we have a lot of people. We have a lot of people in the country, and just like China, countries like Pakistan and India, we can always capitalize on our population as well, because Alhamdulillah, there's an abundance of it. So we should provide those opportunities, those learning centers, those internship opportunities. So I would urge all the solar companies in Pakistan who are working right now, and I would also urge institutions like Plan 9 and Plan X, and I would also urge the National Incubation Center, and through this podcast, and I would urge all the organizations that are working with you, Hira, specifically, to come down to this one similar aspect of providing that kind of opportunity for women and for men and for all other genders, so that they can be a part of the workforce as well. Lastly, Hira, what is your message to the combined youth of the country on how they can ensure a cleaner and greener tomorrow?
I think it's entirely dependent on them कि जिस चीज़ में वो belief रखते हैं, they are passionate about it, then they need to do that, right? And yes, action and responsibility begins with the individual. So पुराने ज़माने में ये होता था, अभी भी होता है कभी-कभी कि जी वो ट्रेल लाइन पे कचरा गिरा दिया बहुत सारा, and people are just crying about कि इतना कचरा क्यों है, कोई साफ क्यों नहीं कर रहा है, गवर्नमेंट की जिम्मेदारी है. At the same time, there are young people who say, okay, forget it, हम संडे की हाइक करेंगे. Today our hike is about cleaning up the trail line, और जो भी parks हैं इस्लामाबाद में hiking के. So when young people take this kind of initiative and responsibility, they are automatically shaping the future. So yes, it depends on your passion, your initiative, and how motivated you are about a healthy country to live in and playing your role for a better future.
Right. Thank you so much, Hira, for being a part of our prestigious program, and for sharing your time and bearing with us for the whole entirety of the session. I believe through this platform, that through this little effort of ours combined, we can actually make some meaningful impact to the community of the country, and not only that, we can do some positive impact on the global community as well through this platform. The links to all your organizations and how to contact you will be shared in the caption of this podcast episode, and there would be a link to follow us and to contact us for any queries regarding solar solutions that you may want to ask, or may want to inquire more of renewable energy. Hira is available, we are available, and this is the effort, the amount of effort that we are trying to put in together to ensure that our community is aware of where the renewable scheme of things are heading to, and we will keep on contributing like this with our little efforts, and in hopes of having a cleaner and greener tomorrow in the country, and then collectively as a world. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with us. This was Hira, and she has shared some insightful journey, which is meant to be inspired from, and to be followed in a very fruitful manner. This was Waleed Rana. You were listening to and watching to eCube Solutions Private Limited's On the Grid session. This was episode 8, and I'll see you in the next one. Inshallah, apna khayal rakhiyega. Take care, and Allah Hafiz. See you.
eCube Solutions. Energizing lives, renewably.